My name is Peggy Flathmann. I'm the superintendent of the Fridley School District, and I want to welcome each and every one of you here today. It's a pleasure being here with you and hearing about all of the wonderful things that this group of people, but realizing I think there are about maybe 100 more people that weren't able to join us today that our principals and directors are recognizing this year in work that they have done in volunteering throughout this school year for our children and our families. So again, thank you very much for coming and being here, and thank you for everything that you have done throughout the year. When we walked in this morning, it feels like we just did this yesterday. The years, go by so quickly, and it's hard to imagine that here we are at the end of another school year. I am going to just introduce our first principal, who will give out the awards for Stevenson, and then each one of the principals will come up consecutively along with our Director of Community Education, Tony Kraft, as well. So with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Vossler.
Would my group come on up with me? Come on guys. Everybody up. Can you come up with me? Why don't you just lamp along here? I'm going to give you the certificates. I'm Darryl Vossler from Stevenson, and we have a whole wealth of help at Stevenson that we're really proud of. And the good thing is it continues to grow. Here are a few of our volunteers. I will pick through and try to talk a little bit about what they do, but over on the end is Rayanne. I almost said Flood, Dargis. But Rayanne has been at Stevenson kind of a long time. She's going to be here a lot longer, because this morning she told me she's pregnant again, so congratulations, Rayanne. So she's a good customer. She's got one kindergartner at Stevenson now. She's got a 3-year-old, and then she's got one on the way, so she's going to be around. Thank you, Rayanne. Rayanne is part of our PTO, very active on it. Will do anything that needs to be done. And so welcome, Rayanne. Next is actually Sarah Jones. I didn't know Sarah until this morning, really. But Sarah, Mike Kozarek has lined her up. We have a slideshow in our school that continuously rolls, and it's a way that we recognize students. It's a slideshow that gets to put together every month, and Sarah's the one that we send all that information to and puts it on slides, and she does that at home for us and then sends it back into Mike, and we got a great looking slideshow every month. It just looks great, and so welcome, Sarah. Next is Doug. Doug is a longtime member of Stevenson. He could probably share more than I could about the place. Longtime faculty member there. And once he retired, he decided to only semi-retire because he's back all the time doing odds and ends in Andy Dower's classroom, things that Mike needs done. And soon he'll be working on that pumpkin patch in the courtyard, getting that thing tilled up for us. Mrs. Kozarek is a frequent member to her son's classroom, Mike, and I'm guessing, I don't really know what Mike has you doing, but you're always moving and so I know Micah enjoys having you around, as well as all the help that you give him. So thank you. And then there's Michelle. Michelle is a former student of Stevenson, and Michelle's been there. I've been there 11 years. Michelle, you've been there longer than I have. She is part of Kim Gardner's Phi Ed class and has been so for I don't know how many years, but more than 11. And comes back every year, does whatever's necessary, helps kids in the gym, and makes sure that everybody's participating in there. So Michelle, we love having you around Stevenson. Thank you. And then there's LaShanta here. LaShanta has a son, Malik, involved with Lifetime Pictures this year, and I think you're now on the PTO because you came to a meeting. So if you come, one more meeting and she's going to have a title. So these are just some of the Stevenson volunteers that we are so lucky to have, and I hope you know how sincere we are when we say thank you for your involvement and helping to make our school better and all the little things that you do. So thank you.
Hello, good morning. I'm Amy Cochran, and I'm the principal at the middle school. And I just want to start first by saying thanks to all of our volunteers at the middle school. We had a lot of people we wanted to recognize this morning, and not many could make it with us. But at the middle school, volunteers do anything from History Day, which is a very large event, so coming to judge History Day, helping on field trips. Our fifth graders, we have 50 volunteers going with for our Como Zoo field trip coming up here with our fifth grade students. Just coming to help in classrooms on a day-to-day. We have a volunteer reading program. So volunteers are kind of in and out of our building all the time, and so we just really want to say thank you to our volunteers for helping with anything that they do at the middle school. This year, our sixth grade class has always done a project with gingerbread houses, and this year they decided they wanted to try something different. And so what they did instead of gingerbread houses this year was making scarves that they wanted to donate into the community. And so spent the afternoon hand making scarves, and then partnered with St. Philip's Church. And so Bob Becker can come on up. He's our volunteer. We partnered with St. Philip's Church in order to be able to donate those scarves in the community. So I came and helped out with our sixth graders in the afternoon, and thank you so much for that partnership.
Good morning. My name is Jason Bodey. I'm the principal of Alternative Services, which means I oversee the high school ALC, our preschool programs, and our targeted services programs after school and during the summer. So I have my hands in just about every building in the district at some point throughout the year. We have a few of our guests this morning who have volunteered a great amount of time and resources to our ALC. And our first individual is Reverend Laura Schmidzik from the Michael Servetus Unitarian Society.
Good job.
Thank you. Come on up. Come on up. We're working with Reverend Schmidzik right now on a partnership with the ALC. They're a small congregation, and we're a small school, so it's a nice match. They're currently working on some flower boxes for the front of our ALC, and if you haven't visited or seen our new ALC building, it's over on the other side of town here, which is not very big, I know, because Fridley's not too big, but over on the other side of Old Central, kind of by where Shortstop is there. If you haven't come and seen it, stop by and see it. It's a great space, and we're looking at ways to just continue to make that a beautiful spot. So they're doing a lot for us, starting with the planter boxes and looking to help with clothing and other things down the road. So thank you very much. We also have Tim Sanders here from Emmanuel Christian Center. Come on up. Phil Johnson is your counterpart that I don't think could be here this morning. But Tim and Phil from Emmanuel Christian Center have donated refreshments and things to us at the ALC for our celebration of excellence. We do that in the wintertime to kind of as a mid-year point to celebrate students that have graduated already, or just students that have really achieved a lot during the school year up to that point. And they've also helped, as Mackenzie, our social worker, says, with oodles of other items. So we want to thank them for their support. And then Steve Clares. Steve has come in and worked with our work seminar class with Jenny DeMar as our work experience teacher. And he's helped facilitate junior achievement lessons about career success. For our students, a lot of times they just need to see role models and they need to understand what's possible out there. And some of them sometimes don't think they could do something, and Steve and many of our guest speakers that come in really open their eyes up to what's available in the world and what they can do. And I often hear after Steve and others leave the building that, oh, I didn't know about that, or I'd love to look into that more. I'd love to learn more about that. So that's just priceless for our students and for their future. So he's also just been a really positive role model and an enthusiastic volunteer. And Jenny DeMars and I thank you very much for coming in.
Well, good morning. I'm Toni Kraft. I'm Community Ed Director, and I am housed here at the Fridley Community Center. And here we work with our youngest learners here in Fridley Public Schools from 6 weeks old to preschoolers. And we have a lot of them, and we have lots of volunteers. Many of our volunteers this year are student volunteers, actually, and we were going to highlight one this morning, and she apparently wasn't able to make it, but I'm going to talk about her anyway. So Isabella Hazelton is a student. I'm going to read what Cami Herder is the program coordinator in the room that she works in. She works with the 3s, 4s, and 5-year-olds. Again, those kiddos just getting ready to go to kindergarten, especially this time of year. They're looking very confident, walking in lines down the hall, ready to come to Daryl and John. So here's what Cami has to say about Isabella. Bella is a valuable asset to our Tiny Tigers preschool childcare program. Her enthusiasm for children, the energy she brings every day, and the engagement she provides adds to the social and emotional growth of our preschoolers. She dives right into any project and is happy to help in any way she can. Her conversations with kids are lively, her laugh is contagious, and we've been lucky to have her volunteer in our classroom, thanks to Bella. So thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm John Piotraschke. I'm the principal at Hayes Elementary, and this is our Hayes crew. Heidi, come on up. I'm going to talk about you a little bit, too. I want to read a couple of quotes about volunteers before I give the awards to our friends here. Volunteers do not necessarily have the time, they just have the heart. You make a living by what you get, you make a life by what you give. Volunteers are the only human beings on the face of the earth who reflect the nation's compassion, unselfish caring, patience, and just plain loving one another. So, Judy and Mike Zerby are volunteers that have been pretty steady with us for a long time. Their daughter teaches art at Hayes Elementary. We've got an event coming up on the week of the 21st. It's going to take place over the course of about 4 or 5 days, and we call it our World Culture Week. And if you walk through the halls of Hayes Elementary now, it's just adorned with the kids' artwork that represents different cultures around the world. And there's probably 1,000 pieces of art up, and you put up every one of those pieces of art. And the other day there were a few of us in the hallways just admiring. I think we were looking at the giraffe silhouettes that were done, and giraffes are our mascot if you didn't know that. So thank you for your work with that. Brenda is one of our first grade volunteers, and this is your last child that's coming through Hayes, and you're working in Mrs. Kuhn's room, and I know Elizabeth has you doing a lot of different things, so we thank you for your work with that. Pam, standing next to Pam is Heidi, and this is mother-daughter. So Pam's been with us, I'm thinking 3 or 4 years at least. 2 years? Time flies, right? And she's working in Heidi's room helping kids. I see her tutoring. I see her doing small instructional groups. She's helping Heidi out in the room. I'm pretty sure that you're not going to move to 4th grade next year. You'll probably stay in 3rd grade again, right? Because Heidi's there. Matt, on the other hand, Matt has got a son in 3rd grade too, and there's sort of an interesting story with Matt because he came in with this container, this collection of coffee the other day, and I guess it's happened a couple times, and I know that he works in his son's classroom, and that's with Leah Schroeder, and I walked down there, and Leah was really appreciative of the coffee. I'm sure she's appreciative of the volunteering too. But then after the coffee came, I walked over to 4th grade, and they were talking. I said, what are y'all talking about? And they were discussing who would get Matt next year for a teacher, who would get to have Matt's kid next year. And at the moment, I had to remind them it's not about the coffee, guys. It's about the kids. So thank you guys for your work. And Julie's got some certificates. We're very grateful for your contribution. You are among a group of almost 200 people that come through our doors to help kids each year, and we're very grateful for your support and work.
High school peeps. Good morning. My name is Dan Roth. I'm the Activities Director for the district, and I'm here with Kelsey Knutson. We're representing the high school. Our assistant principal and principal are running a professional development at this time, so they thought they'd send the eye candy today. So, Kelsey is a social worker for us, and she's going to do our first presentation.
I talk a lot in general, but microphones still scare me. So the first person we want to recognize is David Preston. He's from Grace Evangelical Free Church. We just recently started he's coming in every Tuesday and Thursday to help in the last hour of the day and stays an hour late, helping tutoring kids who want extra support. He's working with our AmeriCorps tutor that we have in place. And after the first day that he came in and shadowed, I was coming back from a meeting and our AmeriCorps tutor comes running out of the library and he was like, "It was so cool. I'm so excited to have people." And he was just over the moon. So we're really happy to have him starting with us.
So now the next group in line here, with activities comes a lot of extra work, and we need so much support for those coaches trying to build the teams, and it's the people behind the scene. And one thing I always say, first of all, we try to offer our senior parents because we want to keep them going, but at the end, and so this is what we have. We have a lot of people that have helped, but I appreciate you guys showing up, and thank you very much. But what's interesting is we spend so much time trying to teach our kids to be self-sufficient, and so parents are pulling away. And some parents have a hard time with it. And then other parents have this grace and ability to know that there's still a need, yet they do it in such a wonderful way. And that's what I think these three people have done for us. And I only wish that more parents could kind of see the importance of that job. And so we have Cindy Ness first, who she's done most of her work with girls swimming, as I know, and she's takes on that concessions back there. And I think, Cindy, you may have used way too much of your own money, from what my intel tells me. So thank you for all that support that no one else really knows about, but we do, and we thank you very much. Not her. This one, here we go. Thank you, Vanna. Ta-da. Okay. Julie Hogstead, our swimming program on Boosters, they do it right. It's the boys and girls together, one board, but they kind of work, they're different seasons. And Julie is the finance officer, I like to call her. She's really good. And so I'm kind of just hang back and they do their thing. And this year we were able to, because of Julie's really good job with a very, very fine pencil, we were able to put in some new starting blocks. And that doesn't seem real sexy. Oh, new starting blocks, oh, great. Let me tell you, they're expensive, like $6,000 a piece. And she's a bulldog. And she made it happen and got the district and myself involved, and we put something together to sustain that pool that we have there. So, Julie, thank you for all that work that you did. Jeff is one of those incredible advocates, okay? And he is the ever-ready bunny, and he's like this little recruiter behind the scenes. But he backs it up because Jeff picks up kids. He knows what they're doing. He knows where they need help, and he inserts himself and does so many things no one ever really knows about. And you probably didn't know I knew about it either, did you? Yeah, I do. But no, so we just want to really thank you, Jeff, for being that advocate for us. And then, lovingly, we have our Crazy Mary Bowen. And that is a term, I think, that our kids in the Key Club hope that one day they will be referred to as Crazy Somebody. Because she's crazy for kids. And it comes out in her unbelievable enthusiasm. She is diligent, and we are in the top 1% of Key Clubs in the world. And it's because of the vision and then the follow-through of Crazy Mary. Thank you, Mary. You're up, head coach.
All of these people, heartfelt thanks, but here are some people that also wanted to say thank you to this group of people.
I'm going to tell you all the things that the volunteers do for us.
Kindergarten registration night and welcomes in all the families.
Develop students' writing, help them with research skills.
Be better readers.
She makes a slideshow for our schools.
Pre-game meals.
She sets up and facilitates and really works with a lot of our kids.
Some spelling words and high frequency words.
She'll cut out laminating things for us.
Fundraise for numerous things. Funds our projects and has programs around the school, gets the yearbooks.
Winter weather gear for students and shoes. Reads with the kids individually. They read a fluency passage.
Special mailings.
Helping with costumes, makeup.
Brings copies, he makes copies.
Help run advanced math groups.
Any makeup work that we might have to make up if we're absent.
Come on field trips with us.
Provides them with a new friend to play with.
Clean up the baseball field and the softball field.
Brought in like donuts and cookies and refreshments for the celebration, which just makes it feel just a little bit more, a little bit extra, which I think it's always good to have students feel that way.
They were so happy that somebody would take time out of their day to do this. They couldn't believe somebody would retire and come back to help them. And the students appreciate having an adult to look up to that they know is going to be there for them. They come in every week.
It also just provides a lot of opportunity for them to develop both interpersonal and academic skills that are different than what you might have with a teacher.
It's just amazing that they get to just fill these kids up and just bring them joy just being here.
It helps their social emotional well-being and helps them develop more skills to be able to communicate and function in a school environment.
Huge mentorship opportunities and seeing like, oh, like that sounds like a really interesting career. I would never have thought of that.
The students get to see the engagement piece between the parents, the students, the staff within the community, and that helps our students to see how they can also get involved with any type of community events that's going on. So this kind of paves the way for our students to also look for ways that they can contribute to their community as well.
She's that role model, that person that at 80, I hope I am.
Volunteers help alleviate some of the stress on teachers. They can help with small groups.
Just like the small little jobs that I don't always have time to do, helps me really be a better teacher. And I couldn't do my job and I couldn't work with my amazing kids without the help of them.
It takes her about an hour to do that. I just don't have that hour in my day to read with those kids individually, and so that's something that is very valuable, that they get read with individually once a week at least.
When these kids see that somebody's coming in to hang out and help in their classroom on their own time, I think it's a wonderful thing for kids to see.
Volunteers, I think, are a great model to teach like empathy and respect and like caring for your common neighbor, and that you're maybe not doing something just to get something out of it.
Your kids don't come up and go, hey, thanks Mom and Dad for being here, and hey, thanks for helping out. I said, but deep down inside, they're watching.
And I think your payback is when they have kids, because they're going to remember what you did for them, and that's how they'll treat their own children.
Her positive influence on them encourages them to be positive towards other people as well.
Our ability to have volunteers in the building not only allows us to show off the great work that our students do here, but also allows our students to get a little bit more broader worldview.
When you volunteer, you give yourself an opportunity to grow as well. So not only are you impacting the lives of those around you, you're making a change within yourself.
Could not do all that we do without you. And I just want to thank you for coming in and being so selfless with your time and just your great attitudes. You are awesome.
Your help is so appreciated to us teachers and to the lives and the learning of the students.
And it helps everyone to know that there are a lot of people out there who care about these kids and care about their education.
From correcting papers, to sorting things out, to passing things, to getting up our calendars, all of that stuff, it just wouldn't be possible without you.
I really want to tell you what a great blessing you are to our district and to our kids.
Thank you for coming in and helping with copies and games and small groups.
The classroom is not as successful without them. Thank you, volunteers.
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 Thank you to all of our wonderful volunteers.
Thank you, 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 volunteers. You guys mean the world to us.
Thank you, volunteers. We couldn't do this without you.
You know, from my heart to all of yours, I want to thank everyone for being here. And right now I'd like to introduce a very special lady who's with us today, and this is Dr. Kim Heil, who will be your new superintendent as of July 1. So please welcome Dr. Heil. With that, I will say adieu. Have a great day. Thank you, thank you, thank you.